Good morning, fellow YouTubers, and this morning we are back on Young Martin's Reels with the South Bend Spincast 66, and this is one I picked up off of eBay. It has no special meaning to me or anything. It's just a nice little reel, but let's take a look at what it does and what it doesn't do. Okay, first off, the button does not push. Oh, there it goes. Finally got to push. Okay, now it actually pushes easy. It went from not pushing at all to actually Okay, the handle is very tight to spin. Hopefully we can clean that up a little bit. How about the anti-reverse? The anti-reverse is working. Let's see if we can turn it off. There we go. Anti-reverse can be turned off. All right, it winds in as you just saw the line wind in. And unfortunately, that means I can't check the drag. I did check the drag last night, and it's not currently working. So we'll take a look at that. All right, we're going to start off by taking off the handle. This is a bit on the stiff side, so we're going to put a little oil in there. Let it be soaking a little bit, spin it around a little bit. Let that oil get worked into it. All right. Now we're going to take this front cover off, and the drag system in this thing is built into the cap. If you look, you've got 3 pads, felt pads glued in here in the top of the cap, and they're welded on or glued onto shelves that are in these vents right here. All right, so we're going to scrub this up, clean it up, and we're going to oil these, and hopefully that's going to allow this to work again. All right, next, we're going to slip this on for just a second so that we can unscrew the rotor. Okay, we've got the rotor off, and yeah, that's very dirty inside, and but pretty well functional. I see it's sticking. See right there, and there we go. We'll clean that up, make sure that problem goes away. All right, let's see if this will turn. Okay, this does not turn at all, and I believe that it should turn. So that may be why our drag isn't working. See, this is where our drag washers, or plates in this case, ride, is on this edge right here, and this is supposed to turn. Oh, there it goes. There we go. Now it's working again. All right, it's been a long time since that. Well, the only thing really holding was just old grease on the inside there. Let's slip it back down. Oh, look there. Now the drag's working again. We will lubricate that so that it fits better. Slip the handle back off. Now we're going to remove side plate screws. I'm wondering if this is going to be a lot like the Shakespeare and have a spring on this side that controls this button right here. Let's take a look at that first before we take off the crank handle side. It definitely has the rod that goes through the button from this side. But is there a spring? Nope, there's no spring on this side. On this case, what they've done, let's go ahead and take the button out. What they've done is they've put the spring directly on the button itself. Now this spring is kind of sprung at the moment. If you put it in here in its position, you will see that it's just barely touching the axle shaft for pushing forward. And all it's going to take to fix that is to very gently slip a screwdriver in. There we go. Now we've got plenty of spring action left in the spring. We'll clean that up and lubricate it. Okay, so far so good. Now we're going to move back to the other side, and let's see. We've got the anti-reverse turned off right now, and we're going to remove these 3 screws. All right, now all 6 of the side plate screws in this are all the same, so we're going to keep them together. Move over here to the side, And we're going to take off the side plate with the main gear in it. There we go. Now this is a lot of what's really stiff in this. It doesn't want to turn. You can turn it easier if you grab hold of the main gear out here. And if you look, we can take a look at how the anti-reverse works a little bit maybe. Flip it on. And you can see it ticks along as it's catching on the cog in the back. And then when you flip it off, it's now no longer touching. All right, we're going to ease this out and give you a good look. There we go. Yeah, just need to clean the grease off. Let's see if there's a shim. Yes, there's a shim here. All right, and now you can see a little bit of how the spring action works on this. There you go. When it moves over, that moves it up against the cog. When you flip it down, it moves it out away from the cog. All right. And that spring, you see here, it's hooked in right in behind here. See if we can see it. It's hooked right in around behind here. It comes out and it loops around once, twice, it looks like. Nope, just once. Loops around one time, comes over, and it hooks right there. So if for some reason you take this eccentric off, unscrew it and take it off, now you can see how the spring goes back on. All right. That brings us down to our axle shaft. I'm hoping this is one that pushes out. Yes, looks like it's going to be one that pushes out through the back. And we can't get it to come out of the back because it won't fit through, which means we have to take it apart up here. All right, let's see if we can get a good view on how that's done up here, up top. All right, slide our spring down, and then there's a double clip here. It's a double lip washer. And we will pull that down out of the way. Easier said than done. Pull it down out of the way, and that reveals that clip right there. Okay, can you see the clip? Okay. Once you expose the clip, you can get hold of it, pull it out like so. That's the clip. But now when you go to release this, gently release the spring so that it doesn't shoot that upper clip off. Now you can get a better look at this U-clip here. And what happens is this slides onto the spring, and then this clip will fit into the axle shaft like that at the top. And that protects that clip, keeps it from getting knocked off. With that done, we can now take the spring off, I hope. There we go. Spring is off. And the pinion gear fell off. And this may or may not have a washer on it. Doesn't appear to be one there. All right. Okay, when this fell off, it was installed. All right, in here like this, and it went onto the axle shaft like so. This one looks like it's going to be a little bit of a challenge to put back. Not that difficult, but difficult enough. All right, now we've got this it looks like it's a built-in washer. I'll find out when I scrub it. This may be just stuck to it. And but that's the part, that washer side goes up against the wall over here. This side up here, you can see the spring has sat there a lot of years, but there's been no rotation on it there. All right. And that's how that assembly goes in, just like that, with this clip down, or with the lips facing up like that, and then the clip goes back on. Off to the side. And that is all. Now, this spring right here, its purpose is to catch on this lip right here, because this is not like a lot of other spin cast reels where you tighten it all the way down until it doesn't go any further. This is actually the adjustment for your drag. So when you adjust in your drag, you adjust this in and out so that these felt pads push against this spool right here. All right, I'm gonna scrub all this up, and when I come back, everything will be clean. All right. Once I show you this, it's gonna be kind of intuitive to say, oh yeah, that would be so much better to do that. But for months now, I've been scrubbing pinion gears, holding on to them with my little teeny hand, or my little teeny tiny parts with my great big hands, sitting there trying to scrub them. Okay, what I discovered today is it's so much easier to go ahead and just slip the pinion gear back onto the axle shaft so that you can scrub it that way. It's so much easier to hold on to it. All right, so I just wanted to point that out to you. Okay, we're ready to start putting things back together. We're going to start off by putting the case back in and the axle shaft back in the case. We'll take and put, let's zoom back out. There we go. We're going to put some oil on the axle shaft. And this actually, at this point, will come in through the front or the back, either way. Okay. Now remember when I was talking about the pinion gear, I was talking about the washer side. Well, it turns out the washer was actually stuck to it, and there's no need to worry about right side or wrong side because they're both the right side. So the first part that goes on is the washer. Goes up against the front case. Then goes your pinion gear, and you have to rotate it around until it slides onto the square on the shaft. Now it's time to put the spring on. You can slide this forward if you want to create enough room to slip on the spring. Once you got it on, go ahead and slip everything back up. At this point, you're going to want to kind of keep some tension on the front of this so that you can take your spring and slide it down. Take your hat clip and slide it down. Once you've got it down, it makes it easier to hold on to. And then comes the harder part, which is putting this clip back on if you got great big fingers. All right, we're gonna do a smart thing here. We're gonna back off, not use these, and use the hemostats instead. I'm a little bit leery of using hemostats because I've had difficulty with clips popping out and shooting across the room. And since I only have one of these, then I definitely don't want that to happen. So I've got it clipped in there like so. Now we'll go ahead and slip this back down. Put your hat clip back on. The reason I call it a hat clip is it looks a lot like a cowboy hat. All right, you got it in position there. I'm trying to sit it so you can see it. And then you need to pop on the clip like so. Make sure that it goes all the way on. Once that's on, you have to line it with the hat channel, the hat clip, like that. Once that's done, it's not going anywhere. It can't come back out unless you take it out. Next part we're going to assemble, it's going to be this side plate over here. We're going to put some oil on your anti-reverse right there, and we're going to put just a little bit of grease right here where the dog rides against the eccentric. That way, when that's moving on there, there'll be some lubrication and it's less likely to wear it down. At that point, remember that you've got a shim washer here. If it came off, this one seems to be pretty well attached. It might be permanently attached. But if it is loose, make sure that it's there. We're going to come back. We're going to put oil on the shaft. And we're going to grease the cog for the anti-reverse. With that done, slide it back into the side plate. Give it a little spin, make sure, hey, it's much more free. Now, remember before I couldn't even turn it using the little stem here. Now it turns freely. Flip the anti-reverse on, make sure it's working, and it does. Let's go ahead and turn it back off. At that point, we can go ahead and grease up the pinion gear here. It's going to want to slide back, but that's okay. It's not hurting anything if it does. Matter of fact, if you want it to go slide forward, just tilt it down like that. Now put some grease on this shaft right here where the spring slides up and down. Got to make it easier for that to slide. Once you've done that, come back and put grease on the teeth of your main gear. With that done, you can now slide that slide plate back on. Make sure that it meshes with your gear, like so. And go ahead and put in your side plate screws. All right, now what I did is I rotated that and let the axle shaft slide back, and it was causing it to bind. All right, so keep it where it belongs. At that point, we can put just a little bit of grease in the hole here where the other side plate shaft goes through, and a little bit of grease right here on this metal plate that this is going to slide on. And we'll slide the button back in. That done. Now go ahead, insert your side plate into the button, rotate it around, and you're ready to put those 3 screws back in. All right, so we've gone from a button that didn't want to hardly push at all to one that now moves freely. I'm going to add a little bit more oil to the shaft. There we go. Now I've cleaned the spool and cleaned the area here where the line runs. And let's see if I can't clean up this line just a little bit. All right, there we go. If you would like, put just a little grease along the bottom here where the drag clicker runs. You don't want a lot there. I've got a little too much there. I'm going to wipe some of it off. There we go. Like so. Just enough to give it a little bit of lubrication. And then slide it back on. Now that turns freely like it's supposed to. The next step is put our rotor back on. And it cleaned up fairly nice. We're going to put oil in here because it looks like it's going to be difficult to get grease to the parts that really matter. We're going to put oil on this side, and we're going to grease this side over here. And then move this line out of the way because we don't want line trapped under our rotor. Screw your rotor back on. There we go. All right, Next, we're going to be putting on this rotor. And what we've got to watch for is these, well, normally it would be a drag washer, but I'm going to call them drag plates. They're felt, and they supply the drag for the reel. I'm going to oil them because we normally oil a drag washer. And we're going to treat this as though it's like a drag washer. Put our oil on it. And it's a little difficult to get these to go past. And so what you have to do, first off, get your line, run through your cap. So it's over here out of the way. Next, you want to push your button so that this pin isn't in. There you go, that drops the pin out of the way. Get your line up and out of the way, and you have to get those drag washers to slip past the rotor. Once you've done that, then get it lined up, make sure it's straight, so that it will screw on. Okay, once you've done that, go ahead, rotate so that your pin is back out. Now, put your anti-reverse back on. And look, we have very light drag. Now, as we tighten this down, our drag starts to tighten. That's getting tighter. And we might even be able to take, yep, I can take it all the way down to where you have no drag at all, it's locked. Okay, so loosen it up a little bit. There we go. Got good drag. Okay, the only thing left to do is put the button back, or the nut back on for the handle. And we'll check our drag. Let's make sure that it winds properly. And it does. Push your button. I got a knot in the line here, so we'll get rid of that. Now this line, as most of these always are, the line is very old and brittle. A lot of memory set into it, which makes it difficult sometimes to pick up the pickup pin because it's sitting there with the memory. All right, there you have it. The Spincast 66, the anti-reverse works, the override works, the drag works, the button release works. This guy, once he's got new line on him, is ready to go fishing again. So, these Spincast reels seem to be rather popular on my channel. The Spincast reels and the spinning reels are running 2 to 3 to 1 for views. That doesn't mean I'm going to give up on the level wind and the bait casters. I still plan to do those, but I do see that you guys tend to like these better, so I will work on trying to acquire more of these old style Spincast reels for you, since that seems to be where the biggest interest is. And if you like what you see here today, hit the like button. If you don't like it, hey, that's good. I don't mind. Just tell me what you don't like. And if you wish to see more videos like this and haven't subscribed, please do so. My subscribership yesterday went over 150, and that's not a lot compared to some. There's some out there that have millions, but I'm very happy with my 150. I started out 3 months ago, and I've been slowly gaining about just about one a day. So I'm happy with that. If that continues on 5 years from now, hey, I'll have quite a few subscribers. If you know someone who might like this channel, recommend it to them. You can hit the little share button down there, copy the link, and send it to them, and see if they like it. In the meantime, this is Rick Stivers with Young Martin's Reels, signing out.